so that
We'll take the
there's
ride.
less flooding, so we can reopen the roads. So far, emergency services are not impacted. And I do want to talk a bit about climate change. It's real. We are expecting sort of almost doubling the number of severe rainstorm days in 15 years. So we have to redouble our effort to have mitigating actions because we have to do more prevention work. Open for some questions.
What more can the city do to prepare for events like this?
Well, clearing the water basins, and if you're talking about long-term mitigation effort, providing incentives for homeowners and for people that have big parking space because the stormwater are not running off properly, the ground is not absorbing the rain. As a result, the runoff is severe and it causes even more flooding. And that's one of the reasons why basements are flooded. So the more porous the ground, the more rain it can absorb and therefore less runoff, less flooding. So there are some incentives the city can do, and we're examining all of those. That's prevention work, but for people that are stuck on the roads and because of power outage, because some of the subway stations are closed, because of the flooding, people in this building, some floors we can't use, the basement down here are flooded. It is a severe problem, and we really seriously have to deal with climate change because these kind of days are going to be a lot more frequent.
In terms of the leaks that we're seeing here at City Hall, do you have any idea what the issue is, how bad the problem is?
Yes. On the second floor, I got to the bottom of it. It's the pipes that are leaking, and when we fix one area, it's just have more pressure, and then the other areas are leaking. Crew were around all weekend trying to fix it, but it's still nowhere near done. So you see flooding in some parts of City Hall. And yesterday, when I was heading out, I noticed all the staircase are leaking. So City Hall is an old building. You see that we need to do a lot more repairs in the city, but we'll do what we can, and we are massively investing in the state of good repair so that there's less flooding going forward.
These are roof drainage pipes, right? They're not water pipes, they're roof drainage.
I don't know what kind of pipes they are. I just look up and they are just dripping on top of me. And it moves around in one area and then it gets patched and then another area leaks. So it's just continuously leaking every time it rains.
Back to the larger state of good repair in the city, though, when we're talking about roads being flooded, you're often talking about the amount of money that's needed to try and fix these things.
Yep.
How far away are we from actually repairing the things that need to be repaired and preventing this from happening?
At the executive committee today, there's $2 billion that's been freed up because of the uploading of the Gardner and DVP. We are so grateful for the new deal. And it goes a long way to fixing some of the older infrastructures, like subway stations that are flooding right now, right? St. Patrick, Union Station, all of them are old. So $500 million to TDC, et cetera, et cetera. But it's nowhere near enough. We are $26 billion short over 10 years to fix the old infrastructure. So I do what I can, and to prevent buildings from leaking, from basement, from flooding, all of those things. So let's work together. Torontonians are very resilient. We can get through this. I hope no one is stuck in elevators because of a power outage. That would be horrible. I see cars abandoned in the roadway because of flooding. And I just hope people stay away from lakes, shorelines, streams because of the flooding. It can just rush in, right? It could be dangerous. Sorry.
When it comes to the DVP, it is flooded before. It is there's issues with flooding today. Why was it not shut down early enough?
I cannot answer that question. I was assured that the emergency service and the management team have been activated early today, this morning, and we know the rain, we can tell it's coming. Maybe the severity of it caught people by surprise, I don't know, but it certainly caught other people by surprise. I had staff that had to go home because the house are flooding, the ceiling are leaking. So I don't know why DVP wasn't closed. There are some sections that are flooding, and they have closed different lanes when it's necessary, and we'll continue to monitor that.
But is that going to be something in the coming days you're going to want more answers on the procedure around it, whether it should be closed earlier to prevent people from having to be rescued or anything like that?
Anytime there's an emergency, we need to review whether we've done everything we can, both on the prevention side and the support side when the crisis happens. So, of course, there will be a review so that we, if there are some things we can improve on, I'll guarantee you we will know about it.
What other roads are we looking to possibly shut down due to flooding at the moment?
I can't give you that information at this point. It depends on where the flooding is. Usually it's around rivers, where there's Humber, the Rouge, in this case, the Don River. So there are several rivers and ravines that surround the city. And those are areas that, if there are roads beside Humber, Rouge, Don, those are areas that I would imagine if there's flooding, that would happen. Also, if it's beside a huge area that has no stormwater runoff possibility, then the opportunity for flooding is more severe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, we've been listening to Toronto's Mayor Olivia Chow talking to the media about widespread flooding in the city. Says the city will have to double its efforts to mitigate the effects of this flooding. Says the city is not used to this kind of rainfall. Also talking about water inside City Hall. She says they're experiencing some flooding in the building that she's in. The roofs are leaking, talking about the aging infrastructure. She was also asked about flooding on the DVP today. She says she doesn't know why the expressway wasn't closed to prevent people from getting stuck. Certainly says that's something city staff will be looking into.